Speaker, if you may, indulge me back to page 11. I try to catch your attention. I think yesterday, at length, we spoke about titles and some directives were given by the Speaker. And I recall the minority leader saying his title or signing is dear to him. On page 11, that error has been caused again. And so if you flip through, I want to draw the table office attention. That correction should be effected, and then consequentially, it should run through as it should. So we are proceeding further to page 13. The table displayed there, item 18. Because I know ordinarily this shouldn't be the approach, but the clerk will bear me out. At conclave, we engaged the Speaker. Some agreement was reached. The Honorable Kweku Asante Boateng is being replaced with the Honorable Abna Osei Asare. If table office can take notice. I thank you, Speaker.
So table office take note and do the necessary corrections. Page 15. Yes, Honorable Member.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I seek your guidance on the use of the word composed and recomposed on page 14. It states to compose the Business and Appointment Committee as well as recompose the Committee of Selection. And I thought all committees were composed yesterday, so I don't know whether the word recomposed will be appropriate. So I just want guidance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member, the leadership of the committee, the leadership has brought the membership of the selection committee. But when they went for the meeting, there were changes. That was how come the word compose and recompose came in. So it is correct. Yes, Honorable Member.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, two important observations, and they have to do with some omissions when it comes to page 7-8, where we're doing the corrections and the...
Honorable Member, you are taking us back to page 7.
It's a general observation, Mr. Speaker, and that runs through the whole document, and I want the table to take notice of that, because it's in furtherance of the point raised by Honorable Haruna Idrisu and also Honorable Anodempre. So I feel stronger that we need to make it and correct it right now. Because yesterday, some two important issues came up. First one was to do with titles of members of parliament. And it was agreed that we should have at least one title recognized and the member make provision for it. And I think that solved a matter on the floor. And the handout or the votes and proceedings to have captured that. The second issue had to do with a point and intervention raised by Honorable Anodempre to the effect that members were mistaken, those who were invited to speak, to congratulate the president with those people who were at the event. So the difference was that the speaker invited some people to come and congratulate the president. It wasn't everyone who was at the event that was supposed to be captured in our records. And I just think that these two interventions are important that we include them in this paper for the purposes of the records. Thank you.
Honourable Member, in respect of some matters that you have raised, it is settled. Speaker directed that the table office will fish out the correct issues and place it there. So I assure you that it will be done. Page 15. Yes, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Speaker, I've made an observation and I want to draw your attention to it. In this House, we have rules that we all follow. I have observed that members, particularly the new members from the minority side, will rise and without you recognizing them, will start to speak. I think that they should be cautioned. They should learn slowly. They shouldn't be in a hurry to learn. So you must, the speaker must recognize you before you speak. You just don't get up, put your microphone on and start talking. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member, thank you very much for your observation. But at this stage, I urge upon the House to indulge them. After the orientation, then the rules will be fully applied. So your point well noted. Honorable Member, you are on your feet.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It's just a short comment on what my honorable member on the other side raised. Mr. Speaker, the issue had been, we expect Honorable Speaker, of course, to be looking at both sides for him to catch, for us to catch his eye. So no. So it's not just the fault of members on the minority side to just wake up and speak, but we are also trying to, as much as possible, catch the attention of the speaker. So it's just a plea to the honorable speaker that when you look at the side of the majority, remember that there's also a minority side that is looking for your attention. Thank you very much.
Honorable Deputy Leader.
Thank you. I'm very, very impressed with the enthusiasm and the confidence of our new members who are very eager to speak. And that is very, very impressive. We really want you to do that. And in this very beginning, we are encouraging you to do that. That's why we are all encouraging members to allow you to speak, even if you are out of order. But I think that the point that was made is very important. Every time you rise to speak, it must have basis. All the basis is in the standing orders. You must quote the right standing order as the basis to speak. And we want you to understand that that is really very critical. And so you have the opportunity to learn all of that during the orientation. But the point that was made by the honorable member is very, very important. I don't think it was meant to discourage you or demean anybody, but in the coming weeks, you realize that when you rise to speak, you will be expected to quote the right standing order as the basis to speak. And those are very important. And so I encourage you to speak, but I want you to make sure that as we go forward, you will be grounded in the rules of this House. Thank you.
Honorable members, this House, as a matter of fact, is guided by rules. I indicated clearly that the rules will be applied after orientation of the new members. For instance, if we look at what constitutes votes and proceedings, for the avoidance of doubt, let me read page 10 of our rules. Votes and proceedings means the daily application Order 8. Definition of votes and proceedings. Votes and proceedings means the daily publications of the minute of a sitting of Parliament, comprising the record of the attendance of members and any decision of Parliament for each sitting day. Honourable members, you can all attest to the fact that applying the order, there are a lot of things that we allow today which ought not to be part of issues that we should deliberate upon. But as I indicated, we are here to do orientation. So Parliament is a master of its own rules. Therefore, we are allowing members to come in a way that by a strict application of the rules, it wouldn't have happened.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, Mr. Speaker, in guiding the House...
Do you have a point of order on the Speaker?
No, I seek your guidance. I seek your guidance. Mr. Speaker, in guiding the House, you referred us to page 10 of our rules book and also referred to the vote and proceedings. May I humbly know from you under what order we are further directed to?
Honorable Minority Leader, I think you know you are out of order. Resume your seat. Honorable members, order. Honorable members, order. Honorable members, the vote and proceedings of the first sitting, dated Wednesday, 8th January 2025, as corrected, is adopted as the true record of proceedings. Honorable members, Honorable Dapamako.
Speaker, thank you very much. Speaker, may I seek your leave to respond to some matter that the minority leader in his submission related in this floor. Mr. Speaker, we are guided by our rules and we don't say this cliche whimsically. They carry some import. Mr. Speaker, the minority leader, in trying to say that the president engaged in an illegality by releasing his announcement to the media before forwarding same to the House. Mr. Speaker, with your leave, let me read Order 65 of our standing orders. Mr. Speaker, Order 65.1 is to this effect. Communication to the House. Communication from the President to the House shall be made to the Speaker in writing, signed by the President, or in the absence of the President, by the Vice President, or by a minister authorized by the President. 2. Communication from the President shall relate to matters including, in this case, a ministerial or deputy ministerial nomination. Mr. Speaker, the President has done exactly that. And yet the minority leader sought to create the impression that the President has no right to make a public announcement of this information prior to making the communication available to Parliament. And I think that this record ought to be set straight that there's no guideline forbidding the President from making public announcements before relating the information to Parliament. In any case, yesterday the same minority leader had cause to make very profound statement about some number of the members of the majority side who were supposedly absent. It is found itself in the headline of a newspaper when the record today bears the fact that that was not the case. So Mr. Speaker, I believe that when the minority leader wants to relate matters, it should do so within the rules.
We are just done with the vote and proceedings.
Yes.
All members, we move to item number 6. Statement. statement by Honorable Chief Whip, Honorable Anodompre, Minority Chief Whip, has been admitted.
Speaker,
so we may listen to the statement.
I'm grateful. The Speaker, it is with great pleasure that I make this statement to highlight the good work of our brother and colleague, the Honorable Dr. Emmanuel Mafo, the former Member of Parliament for Oforikrom, and to celebrate another feat of our nation, Ghana, in the passionate endeavor to shine the black star of Africa to the rest of the world. Speaker, as part of the global action to address climate change, the energy transition, and climate financing, a great deal of work has been made by our national and international actors, of which Dr. Mafo is ably represented. Speaker, Ghana's parliament has indeed been a model on the subject matter, holding several successful engagements to shore up inclusivity on climate issues and to institutionalize the objectives of our nation in addressing this endangering phenomenon. In July last year, Speaker, under the leadership of the Right Honourable Speaker Agban Sumane, Kingsford Bagbin, and the facilitation by Honourable Dr. Emmanuel Mafo, the Ghana Parliament Caucus and Disability Caucuses were both launched to promote sustainable development practices that prioritize environmental conservation through the advocacy of progressive environmental and social policies. Yes, today I'm proud that Dr. Emmanuel Mafo has been appointed by the Climate Parliament as its new director for West and Central Africa regions, having come a long way through academic and professional careers in the field of environmental science, policy, and legislation. The Climate Parliament, which is headquartered in London, is a global network of legislators working to inform and mobilize members of various parliaments and congresses to take action on the climate emergency. Speaker, the Climate Parliament, having recognized the commitments of the members of Ghana's parliament, they have engaged on both sides of the House, found it appropriate to elevate one of our own to direct the affairs of the African sub-region to continue to marshal all the support needed to address the climate emergency. Speaker, before his appointment, Dr. Mafo was a principal research scientist at the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. He then became the Member of Parliament for Oforikrom constituency for 2 terms and voluntarily retired. Dr. Mafo was the chairman of the Committee on Environment, Science and Technology in the 8th Parliament and the global chairman of the parliamentary group of the Climate Vulnerable Forum from 2022 to 2024. Still in Parliament, Dr. Mafo served on the Gender Committee, the Lands and Forestry Committee, the Constitutional and Legal Committee, the Roads and Transport Committee, and the Works and Housing Committee at various times. He was also the Vice Chair of Disability Caucus and Chair of the Climate Change Caucus. Mr. Speaker, I wish to take this opportunity, even now, at the commencement of the new Parliament, the 9th Parliament, to sound the call the House has consistently made on the matter of climate action. May it not be lost on us as a Parliament, as a nation, and indeed the global community, that every day that goes by where we do not act, we do not only stare in the face of a grave and enduring destruction of livelihood, for the near generation after us, but we do so with our hands at our backs. Speaker, in conclusion, the risks of loss of biodiversity, crop losses, displacement of communities due to the rising sea levels, and the rampant floods are but a few challenges that will overtake us if we do not soldier on in our quest. I'm encouraged by such feats in the global landscape that give Ghanaians the opportunity to join the four actors in impacting our communities with sustainable solutions to challenges such as this. Speaker, to conclude, to the Honorable Emmanuel Mafo, I say Ayiko, being one of us, you should be reminded that you have the support of the House at all times to bring success to the endeavors of the Climate Parliament, and all other local and international agencies are continually engaged with us. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. I'm grateful.
Thank you, Honorable Minority Chief Whip. Honorable members, I would allow members to comment on the statement subject to Standing Order 93.5. And honorable members, for the purposes of our fresh members, if I may read, a member may comment on the statement for a period not exceeding 5 minutes, and the comment shall not provoke debate. Honorable members, you may now proceed to comment on the statement. I recognize Honorable Anyimedu Entry.
Mr. Speaker, I'm very grateful, but I just realized that the person that had succeeded Dr. Mafo is on his feet, and I pray that I yield to him for now. Thank you.
Very well.
Mr. Speaker,
so, Honorable Anyimedu, do you want me to recognize him before him, or you are giving him your opportunity?
Mr. Speaker, that is what I said. He's the member for Forikrum.
Very well. Very
so
well.
Before him.
Member for Forikrum.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to make some few comments on the statement made by the Honorable Minority Chief Whip. My predecessor, Dr. Emmanuel Mafo, is characterized by environmental sustainability, and he has excelled himself in the field. And today, Mr. Speaker, from Oforikrum, we stand proud and congratulate Dr. Emmanuel Mafo for the achievements that he has made. And we believe that he is able, and going into his new role, he will make us prouder. So today we say Ayiku from the people of Oforikrum, and most importantly, from KNUST, we say Ayiku to Dr. Emmanuel Mafo, and we believe that he will do his best as he's done all over the years, and we stand with him in his new role. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Muntala Mohammed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Since I'm also a past student of KNUST, I echo Dr. Emmanuel Mafo. Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving me the opportunity to contribute to the statement made by my good friend, the Minority Chief Whip, on the elevation of our brother on a matter that should be of tremendous concern to everybody, and I guess not only the people of Oforikrum constituency, but the entirety of the global community, and most importantly, African countries. Mr. Speaker, as a farmer myself, and as thousands of farmers, if not millions of farmers across the country. Climate change is something that is havocing, if you like, those who engage in this business of farming. People find it extremely difficult now to predict rainfalls. People find it extremely difficult now to determine when they should start tilting the land, when they should start planting their seeds on the ground, because of the havoc of the consequences of the actions of man to the effect of our climate. Mr. Speaker, there are skeptics, and those skeptics are not just the ordinary man like myself and many other people in this country. It includes presidents of the most powerful states of the world. A classical example is the president-elect of the United States of America, who among many people believe that there is nothing called climate change. But those of us in developing countries and countries that are islands do know the consequences of climate change. The fact that farmers can no longer predict, the fact that rainfall patterns have tremendously changed, it tells you that productivity is hindered. And once productivity is hindered, it affects the livelihoods of people. As a state, we have participated in several international climate conferences. To what end and to what benefit? What are we doing individually to ensure that we contribute our quota towards ensuring that the environment is protected, farmers get the benefits of their toil on the land? And mind you, Mr. Speaker, once these things are affected, it affects trade, it affects productivity, it affects virtually everything. So it is our prayer and hope that our brother, having been elevated, is not only going to look at it as an individual achievement, but what can he do to support the continent of Africa and to support Ghana. And as a member of parliament, and I know that many of our colleagues here across the aisle are farmers, and we do know the effects of it. We are more than prepared to assist in any way to see that the purpose for his appointment is yielded a very positive thing for this country called Ghana. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to contribute to this and say, as a former student of KNUS, I go. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Muntala. I recognize Honorable Anyimedu. I indicated whether you are giving him your slot or you just want
no, Mr. Speaker,
because what you said was that you are yielding to him.
Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful. Mr. Speaker, this being the first time I'm speaking whilst you are in the chair, let me take the opportunity to congratulate you formally for your elevation to the chair. And Mr. Speaker, to urge you that because you have started so well, I will urge you to continue and you will get to greater heights. Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful for giving me an opportunity to contribute to the statement ably made by the Minority Chief Whip. Normally in this House, Mr. Speaker, I see tributes are paid to people that had passed on. It doesn't normally happen when somebody is alive and we pay tribute. Mr. Speaker, the 5th Parliament, I heard about Dr. Mafo and especially the 6th Parliament when I was the Vice Chair of Lands and Forestry Committee. Mr. Speaker, it came to a time that we had to do about land and forest depletion. And we had some subcommittees, of which one of them I was chairing. And researching, that was when I came across the name Dr. Emmanuel Mafo. he had already given us some papers that we couldn't go past but had to use for our work. It was later at a party meeting when I met him. He was then the chair of the Oforikrom constituency that I realized that it was this Dr. Mafo that I had read about. Mr. Speaker, when he came to Parliament, he was placed on these other committees, including the land and forestry. And then he did other things like environment. And Dr. Mafo never played with his work. In Parliament, he had other things that he had to do. At the Ashanti caucus, he became the secretary of the caucus. And his duties were done with admiration. I happen to be the chair of the caucus. Mr. Speaker, I would commend the leadership of the 8th Parliament and the 7th Parliament because Dr. Mafo, his background and what he knew, he never forgot about it. And he was given opportunity by the leaders to place him at the Rifle Committee. I will urge every member of this House, those who have come anew and those who are here, almost everybody in this House is a professional, one way or the other. And I encourage everybody to continue to practice his or her profession. Mr. Speaker, there are various committees, the standing committees and select committees. And obviously, especially the first-timers, if you should look through, you would find something that is relevant to your profession. If we should do that, Mr. Speaker, we can be sure that this House would be taken to a greater height. With this, Mr. Speaker, I will urge everyone in this House and urge leadership of the House on both sides of the aisle to look through the members that had come anew. And we have to identify each and every one where the person can practice most, and then we can place the person in order that Parliament of Ghana would be taken to a higher level. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Sam George.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise to contribute to the statement ably made by the Minority Chief Whip and MP for Ntawamadu Jiri, the Honorable Anodombre, and state that as a technocrat myself, I am proud of my fellow technocrat, Dr. Mafo, who I had the opportunity to serve in the 7th and 8th Parliament with. It goes without saying that irrespective of our political differences, Dr. Mafo was a fantastic parliamentarian and committed himself to the work that he did in his committees. And so it comes as no surprise, his elevation and recognition on the international landscape. Even as a member of Parliament, he represented the House on several climate and environment assignments. Mr. Speaker, I believe that as a country, we need to pay more attention to the challenges and difficulties that our food sustainability and security faces on the back of climate change. As a developing country, Ghana is one of the smallest contributors to greenhouse emissions and pollution of the ozone and the effects on climate change. However, Ghana is one of the biggest sufferers of the effect of climate change. You talk to farmers across our country and you realize the challenges that they are facing with predictability of the weather. And so as a country, the challenges that the previous speaker, Honorable Ayimedu, made reference to must go beyond the fantastic academic pieces and papers that are churned out by members of the academia to implementation by government heads and agencies. Because we have fantastic research and fantastic documents sitting on the shelves of many of our educational institutions, but these are not being applied for the benefit of our workers. And that's where, as a country, we need to get to. We need to apply the work that people like Dr. Mafo are doing for the betterment. And I believe that the new administration, with a focus on agribusiness and agriculture, would begin to give more impetus to things like this so that we can use the research to resource the agencies that need to be resourced. Because many times the agencies that need to implement some of these things are left behind because they're not seen as attractive enough. But those are the things that will give us economic stability when we have food security. And so, once again, I want to commend the maker of the statement, because like Honorable Ayimedu said, most times we hear of tributes in this house only after the person is dead. In fact, when he started the tribute, the first question I heard in the aisle is he dead? Because that is the norm in this house. We need to begin to celebrate our own and celebrate and recognize people for their contribution to national and international development. And so once again, I echo to technocrat Dr. Mafo. Thank you.
Honorable former Deputy Minister for Education.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I rise to thank the respected Minority Chief Whip, Honorable Anodompre, on the statement ably made that paid a glowing tribute to another respected colleague of ours in the 7th and 8th Parliament, the Honorable Dr. Emmanuel Mafo, on his contribution to environmental sustainability and climate change. And I wish to join him, together with other colleagues who have spoken before I rose, to congratulate Dr. Mafo on his well-deserved appointment as the new Director for Climate Parliament for the West and Central Africa. We have every confidence in his abilities to succeed. We wish him Godspeed. I've had the opportunity to serve in the 7th and 8th Parliament on a number of committees with Honorable Dr. Emmanuel Mafo, and in particular served with him on the Climate Parliament Ghana chapter, a caucus which he convened and chaired till his exit from the 8th Parliament. And the depth of his expertise in climate change, energy transition, and matters of sustainability is remarkable. And even most admirable is his commitment to mobilizing global action and raising advocacy to ensure that climate financing sees great attention and also key stakeholders tackle issues of climate change as one that is so important. Mr. Speaker, it is so important that in every parliament we have champions of climate change like we had in Dr. Emmanuel Mafo. And owing to it, I believe that another champion will rise up to that occasion. But considering the wide range of effects of climate change, from biodiversity loss to extreme temperatures and in particular displacement, it is important to also have champions of climate change, particularly in our schools, in all schools. It is important that we champion to raise champions who are going to be in our schools. Because, Mr. Speaker, whenever there is climate-induced disasters, education is the hardest hit. School-going children are the hardest hit. When there's flood and school disruptions occur, many children will have to stay out of school for days, if not for weeks or months. And therefore, the effects and the contribution that even the younger generation could adopt climate-resilient practices is so important that at those early stages, they become familiar and young champions. On this note, I congratulate Honorable Emmanuel Mafo on this feat. I thank you.
Honorable Dr. Sandari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I also rise to contribute to the statement ably made by the Chief Whip of the minority side, a tribute, to Honorable Dr. Emmanuel Mafo, a former colleague of ours. Mr. Speaker, I also congratulate him on this great height. I was in the the Climate Parliament Ghana chapter, and he was our chairman. And of course, I'm also a product or an alumni of Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. And therefore we are yes, technical school. Those of us from that great university of science and technology are proud of him.
How can you get a good?
Because you know he's demonstrating that it's a product
it is after you fail to enter Lagos
of that university. Mr. Speaker, we wish him well, and we hope that he will continue to contribute, to solving the problems of climate change, which we know affects all sectors of life. We know climate change influences even the incidence and the complexity of infectious diseases. Many of the pandemics that we are witnessing can be attributed to the climate change that we are facing. We witness flooding that affects women and children, and many sectors that we can talk about. So we need collective action to fight climate change. And we hope that he will bring the experience that he has to bear in this area. So once again, I also join the many colleagues and the maker of the statement to congratulate him. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. I have to be gender sensitive. So, former Regional Minister, I'm looking at your back. Honorable Member.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. I rise to support the statement by the Chief Whip. Mr. Speaker, we wish him all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that brief. Honorable Namomo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statement made by the Honorable Minority Chief Whip. I want to take the opportunity to also add briefly in congratulating the former Member of Parliament, Honorable Dr. Emmanuel Mafu, on his appointment to the Climate Parliament. I served with Honorable Mafu on the Gender Committee, Environment and Science, a friend to the Environment, Science and Technology Committee, and then the Climate Change Caucus. And this appointment comes to encourage all of us here to bring to bear our professionalism to the work that we do on the floor. We've all witnessed how he tackled the issues on climate change with passion. And I vividly recollect his passion and frustration leading to the delays. In fact, the passage of the EPA bill, the Environmental Protection Bill, he took a non-partisan stand, and he was able to push all of us those on the floor who were playing neutral, to realize that it was a bill of interest to the nation. And for that matter, we should all put our partisanship aside and look at it with an objective eye. Today, the bill is passed into law, and we are all going to be beneficiaries of it. In fact, the nation Ghana benefits from it greatly. Today, his appointment comes to attest to the fact that if you work and serve diligently in this house, the house gives you the platform to be seen globally, and then also your work will be recognized. And today, we are all witnesses to what has happened to him. This afternoon, I can only add my voice to the many voices in wishing him well and encouraging all of us who are learning and hope to be somewhere, from this house, that there's life after this house. So whatever we do here, we should take cognizance of the fact that we will be needed outside there. Life is beyond what we do on this floor. And so whatever we do counts, and we should take it seriously. Thank you very much, and congratulations to him once again.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Let me recognize the Honorable Member. You can talk.
Etiwa West.
Etiwa West.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. I rise to support the statement by the Minority Chief Whip and the contributions from my colleagues. Mr. Speaker, issues of climate change, energy transition, and climate financing are critical in the global community. As a nation, we must be excited that a respected former member of the House has been given this mandate to lead the charge for the African sub-regions on the climate emergency. This should also remind us as a House to prioritize climate issues to help prevent the destruction of livelihood in the near future. Mr. Speaker, we wish him all the best, and we say Ayiko. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member, for Etiwa West. Prof, I'll come to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for recognizing committee members. I'm the first person to speak from the committee, of which Dr. Mafo worked. I was very fortunate to be working in the same committee with Dr. Mafo. We also worked together in the leadership of the committee, first as a deputy ranking and subsequently as a chair of the committee. Dr. Mafo is a very nice person who transcended political boundaries. He recognized capacity, he recognized resource, and so he gave level ground to all of us to work in the committee. Dr. Mafo is a resource-oriented person. He is somebody who is a team player, very hardworking, and I have no doubt that he has been able to achieve this feat. We worked together to get the Environmental Protection Bill passed. As a committee, Dr. Mafo was also very instrumental in ensuring that we form climate parliament in Ghana, in the Parliament of Ghana. And so he subsequently worked very hard to ensure that we got that particular caucus inaugurated. So I have no doubt of Dr. Mafo's capacity to be able to work in the office that he has found himself. I can only, and on behalf of the committee, we can only wish him well, and we have no doubt that he will make Ghana to shine for the rest of the world to see where we are as a country. I thank you so much for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Ketu South, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when I was coming to the Parliament of Ghana in 2021, I had no idea that I'll be inundated by the tidal waves that hit my community in 2021. But when that disaster happened, one of the few people who approached me to comfort me and to guide me was Honorable Mafo. He understood that part of the problem which led to the tidal waves was because of climate change and global warming. He so educated me on it, and because of that education, I joined the climate parliament, and also joined the disability caucus because of Dr. Emmanuel Mafo. Because of that passion which he has for our world, he gave me a lot of materials to read. Having read them and appreciated them, I decided to go on the internet and join the Global Climate Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I got opportunity to travel with Dr. Mafo to IPU and also 2 other international conferences out of this country. And on those platforms, it was a pleasure and a joy to see our brother speak on this matter of climate change, and you felt proud as a Ghanaian. His leadership style is one that embraces both his profession, his career, and also just being a human being with feelings for one another. I've had the opportunity to speak to him about family life. I'm his big sister, and I've shared a lot of experiences with him on how to raise his children. It's important that we learn to marry both what we do inside Parliament and what our private lives are, because it's the totality of the human being that we are talking about. Dr. Mafo exemplifies that, and I think that his leadership style is worthy of emulation. Today, I join all our members of Parliament who have spoken highly about Dr. Emmanuel Mafo to say that, indeed, here is a great man who is being celebrated in his lifetime for his work that he's done for our country, and now he has the opportunity to shine even brighter on the global stage and make Ghana great and proud. I thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker, and may we all learn from his example. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member for Ketu South. Honourable Dako, I saw you on your feet. Let me hear you.
Yeah, he wants me to talk.
On your feet to speak. Honourable Member, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to commend the Minority Chief Whip, Honorable Frank Babna Anodompre, for the statement, and also joined teaming member of the House who have spoke in high esteem of our senior, our doctor, our lecturer, Dr. Emmanuel Mafo. The Speaker, having worked with NADMO and having attended several climate change programs, Speaker, we made reference to papers and publications that were made by Dr. Mafo. And today I am not surprised that he has attained that height he has attained. The Speaker, the elevation of Dr. Mafo should draw our attention to some major fundamental issues that as a House, both political divides, need to concern ourselves with. The Speaker, it has to do with securing funds for research that had to do with promoting climate change and its consequences. The Speaker, we can make reference to the National Climate Change Policy document. The Speaker, when this document was passed, major among the challenges that confronted this document and its implementation was funding. The Speaker, it is important that as a House, we together look at how we can secure dedicated funding to issues of climate change, and also encourage investors to also look into funding and supporting climate change issues. Speaker, the next issue should be the political will. Speaker, as many as we spoke had to talk about challenges, effects, consequences of climate change. But Mr. Speaker, when it comes to the political will, it becomes a problem. So I will urge the House to look at the heights Dr. Marfo has attained, to encourage all of us to be interested in supporting bills and other things that have to do with climate change. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, I want to congratulate once again Dr. Marfo for attaining this height. Thank you.
Honorable Member, Honorable Ebenezer Oklite Telabi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for the opportunity to also comment on the statement. Mr. Speaker, a lot of us here who were in the 8th Parliament did not understand the chemistry between myself and Dr. Marfo. In fact, our relationship started from Kumasi KMUST campus precisely when he was the party chairperson for Forikrum and I was a candidate for the NDC. And in fact, Mr. Speaker, the interesting thing is that anytime we met, we never discussed anything politics. It was all about science, technology, innovation, and climate change. And therefore, I don't know, by an act of God, I came here a year before him, but we ended up being on the same committee, and that chemistry continued. And if you look at what happened in our committee, you realize that there was that harmony because we understood each other. We knew what we were all about. I am not surprised about this appointment because I know what Marfo is made up of and what he believes in. But my worry, Mr. Speaker, is that today, issues of climate and climate change, climate funding is so green. We need people with such expertise to guide policy and to help in unlocking, the various funds to support in mitigating the effect of climate change in this country. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, I know for a fact that my colleague Marfo did not just decide not to contest, but circumstances led him to bow out. Mr. Speaker, this will go to all of us. If indeed we recognize the potential, the expertise of colleagues, we need to find a way, at least to protect such, people, so that at least Dr. Marfo is young and he has more years ahead. And I believe that if the NPP party had protected him and given him that opportunity, he would have helped a lot in shaping policy insofar as climate issues are concerned in the House. Unfortunately, we lost him. Today, another opportunity has been given to him. And I shudder to, say that the influence would be directed towards the developed countries than Ghana. And we may not benefit too much from his exploits. Like when he remains in Parliament. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I just want to advise that much as we believe in democracy, we must give everybody opportunity. But then, Mr. Speaker, when we have people with special expertise, especially like climate change, climate financing, areas where are so green, which we don't have so much, experts, we should encourage our various parties to protect such persons so that we make maximum use of them. On that note, Mr. Speaker, I congratulate my colleague and I pray that the good Lord guide him wherever he finds himself. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable former Regional Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to support the statement made by the Chief Whip of our side in congratulating the good work and the elevation of Dr. Emmanuel Mafo. Mr. Speaker, I had known Dr. Mafo when he was the chairman for the Ofori-Krom constituency because his predecessor was a very good friend of mine. Secondly, I'd also known Dr. Mafo at KNUST, where I was a student, and then Dr. Labi, Tel Labi, was also there. Currently, we are neighbors, but next door neighbors. So we are happy that a student of KNUST, our own, has been elevated for the West and Central Africa Climate Program. Mr. Speaker, Dr. Mafo is one person that was very strong with his thoughts, and even on our own platform, he was fearless. He was very strong in pushing any agenda that he believed was right and good for the good people of this country. Mr. Speaker, Dr. Mafo was also the chairman for the Parliamentary Climate Caucus, of which I was a member. As a student of sustainable development and a biochemist, I have always believed in saving the planet and always believed that the sort of thing that Dr. Mafo did in supporting Ghana in our thinking about climate action, climate emergency, climate finance, and the energy transition, including resilience, were key components of keeping our country and its biodiversity up to this day. It is therefore my wish and hope that as he set foot into the world of work with the West and Central Africa Program of Climate Parliament, key issues like local ownership of the ideas of climate action, key issue of the ideas of climate finance will get to the bottom and the grassroots of our people so that we will own it instead of just being a policy at the top without going down, and we keep talking about them year in, year out without the real actions on the ground. Mr. Speaker, I also do believe that all the books and textbooks and all the projects and the theses we've written in the universities, there should be local solutions and local technologies to solve a lot of these problems. If we are able to get this ownership and the local solutions together at the local level, Mr. Speaker, I do believe that we'll be solving more of our problems than always looking after the effect, instead of looking at the pre-effect of a lot of the things that we've been talking about in this country. With these few words, I wish once again to say Ayuko to Dr. Emmanuel Mafo. And I believe that as he has been elevated, other people in our ranks as Parliament would also be elevated in our area of work and profession. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Let me take Honorable Bajra, then I'll come to the leadership of the House.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also want to add my voice to the colleagues who have already eulogized our brother, Dr. Emmanuel Mafo, former Member of Parliament for Ofori-Krom. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Dr. Emmanuel Mafo, he met us in this House, and he has created himself very well, as not only as a scientist, but also as a politician. Mr. Speaker, we know he cut across both houses. He's somebody who you can approach. When there are issues in this House, we all know you approach him and say, well, you are in the minority, we are in the majority. Please, let's work together and let's have consensus. When the days are heated, you will not see him talking. He'll just walk to you, those of us who are his colleagues and friends come to you and say, well, let tempest cool down, and let us work with consensus. Mr. Speaker, I've been in two committees, two associations with him, GOPAC and APNAC, African Parliamentarians Network Against Corruption. And I've traveled with him around the world, as well as GOPAC. And Mr. Speaker, I can tell you that he has depth and knowledge in this very area of climate change. And so I wasn't surprised at all when I met him yesterday. And I said, oh, what are you doing, my brother? So I've moved on. And I said, oh, what is in pipeline? And he said he's been made the director for West Africa and East Africa for Climate Parliament. And I was saying, and I told myself that this is a good step for us, and we should all learn, especially those of us who are here for the first time. You come to this house, you may not know when you step out of this house. Prepare yourself for the future. It is possible that you spend only one term in this house, but if you spend your lifetime here, or one term here, and you carry yourself very well, and you study studiously, you find yourself not only on a local stage, but in the international stage as well. For Mr. Mafo, he's moved on. He's no longer a member of parliament, but he has moved on to exhibit that which he has learned from this house as a politician and a scientist. And so when you come, whether you are a lawyer, you are a teacher, or even an engineer, please add politics to your profession. And so that when you are no longer a member of parliament, you can also find yourself on another platform where you can exhibit your profession and politics. With this few words, Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Emmanuel Bajira. Honorable leaders.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Are you speaking for the leadership?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, I first of all want to congratulate you personally. It seems everybody is talking about Dr. Mafu, but I also have to talk about Right Honorable Bernard Ayafo. Honorable Bernard Ayafo. Mr. Speaker, this is because of your current elevation and the fact that you are a Jolalian, and I feel special that you are a Jolalian and you were once my classmate. I feel very humbled by that. Mr. Speaker, besides that, I also, in support of the Chief Whip's earlier statement, want to also talk about Dr. Mafu. Mr. Speaker, this is because he's shown a lot of alacrity and he's moved to a position that one has to commend him. Mr. Speaker, this is because for some of us who are new here, we are emboldened by the fact that we can come learn and learn properly and aspire to be somewhere beyond the borders of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I pray that Dr. Mafo in his new position would also concentrate on blue economy, where we have a lot of issues we are dealing with, especially in Ghana, where we are overwhelmed with filth and squalor. Mr. Speaker, I believe that he's going to concentrate on social inclusion and especially the preservation of livelihoods and growth. And it's our prayer that all will go well with him. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minority Leader, before giving you the floor, let me state that you would always have your pride of place in this august house as a minority leader. Your support and cooperation for the chair you've never withheld. So we'll continue to have a very healthy debate in this particular house, counting on your support. Honorable Minority Leader, you may now have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, we shall remain friends and brothers till casket. I'm happy, Mr. Speaker. I know that sometimes we all sleep, but it's okay. We are in this together. Mr. Speaker, thank you for those kind words, and in that same spirit, I want to assure my friends who are in government that we know the support we had from you when we were in government. We are not going to obstruct government business. There are fundamental and ideological disagreements. We'll keep friendship, but make our case and keep your feet to the fire without prejudice. And we will do so in utmost respect to all of you in this chamber. Most of you here are our friends. We break bread together. We do positive things together. It's not politics that will divide us. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to assure my colleagues. That said, Mr. Speaker, I'm adding my voice to the statement made by my respected colleague, the MP for Aduwejiri, and Chief Whip of our caucus. Mr. Speaker, this man being celebrated today is personally known to me. We were in the 8th Parliament together, and 2 years ago, in a conversation, he indicated that he will be starting a new life, meaning he had planned his life, and I asked why he didn't contest again. He said, having looked at the options, he felt that he could move on and make a contribution. The Speaker, he and I disagreed on a number of occasions on matters. But one thing I noticed is that anytime we had a serious disagreement, the next day he would come to my office and say, leader, and I said, nah, me in other words, leader, it wasn't the case that I was more or less attacking your personality or doing something against you, but I was expressing my opinion. The last of it was on the EPA, the Environmental Protection Bill, where we were trying some, as you know, Mr. Speaker, some chamber engineering. And he came out strongly and expressed an opinion. And I told him that, Doc, at least you could have discussed this with me privately. He acknowledged that, and we settled our matter at the holding room behind us. That is the character Dr. Mafo. Mr. Speaker, but what do we learn from him? Mr. Speaker, a lot of times parliamentarians create the impression that there's no life after Parliament. And this is where I want to spend a bit of time to make some few points. And particularly to our fresh entrants, our colleagues who have just joined us. You may be coming from your different professions. I want to tell you that don't abandon your profession. Way back 2013, when we were here, Right Honorable Do Ajaho encouraged those of us with our professions, particularly those of us who practice in a court, to try and practice. And that we did. I would encourage those of you who are teachers to continue to find space to teach. Those who belong to other professions, explore. And then back again to Parliament. This chamber, the debates, the advocacy on this floor is perhaps about 5%, or let me say less than 10% of our work. Your real advocacy is at the committee level. How you distinguish yourself outside of this floor. And if you get the opportunity to travel on any parliamentary delegation, your duty as a parliamentarian is to make your name, because Ghana is an example for the world and to the world. So Ghana is an example to the world and for the world. And parliamentarians from Ghana are so respected. So, honorable colleagues, I am urging you, take every advantage of this parliament. Don't be too worried if you don't get opportunity to clear your truth on the floor. People may be intimidating you. Your majority chief whip, who is very calm these few days, if you see his advocacy in opposition, and Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, these are strong voices that if you are not careful, you may be intimidated. Or the way they get up and come out strongly, you may say, hey, not for me, how can I make it? Even if you don't get opportunity, Amen, please know that there is an opportunity for you after Parliament. So build your career, build your CVs. And Honorable Kennedy Japan, there came a time where we were opposing government policy in this floor. We were then in opposition. The MPP was in minority. We saw him walk into the chamber. We thought he was going to join us to strongly oppose the NDC government. When he took his turn, he said, Mr. Speaker, this is not about NDC or MPP. It's about systems and policies. Mr. Speaker, I rest my case on this note. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minority Leader. Honorable Deputy Whip.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, this being the very first time you've taken the high chair to preside over this House, Mr. Speaker, I want to join my other colleagues to congratulate you on your ascension to that high position. Mr. Speaker, as if by coincidence, anyway, this may be social comparative advantage because your constituency happened to produce a first deputy speaker in this House, which paved the way for us to go into by-election and to bring you. And today, you have succeeded your predecessor, not only as MP for that very constituency, but to the high office of a first deputy speaker in this august House. Mr. Speaker, based on that, together with my colleagues, we are all commending you. Mr. Speaker, but you have a function. Your predecessor encouraged and advised the minority leader, and he is here. May you continue to encourage him. Mr. Speaker, on the occasion of the statement that was made by the Honorable Minority Chief Whip, Mr. Speaker, I've listened to the various comments by colleagues. And Mr. Speaker, I want to join them to commend Dr. Mafu. In fact, one day I was with him in Geneva, and the Right Honorable Speaker Bagwin called me and said, Ahmed, have you seen Dr. Mafu? He is super. He has made Ghana proud, and I'm going to encourage him. I'm going to support him. So, Mr. Speaker, in any of the international conferences of IPU, Dr. Mafu was supported to be there by the Right Honorable Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, when he is chairing the Climate Committee as chairman, Mr. Speaker, you'll be proud that he's a Ghanaian. So I'm not surprised. He is not there by default. He is not there by coincidence. But I used to talk to him as a whip. I also used to encourage him. He told me, after Parliament, I want to form a climate something. So I'm not surprised today he's there. And the Speaker,
the framers of our constitution were very apt when they said, when they brought Article 103 Clause 5, that the composition of committees of parliament shall reflect the different shades of opinion. Members must take a cue from this. If you are a lawyer, when we are forming the judiciary committee, you hardly find lawyers to apply for that committee. Mr. Speaker, and in the fifth, Mr. Speaker, and this is a house.
Honorable Deputy Whip, Honorable Boma, are you on point of order?
Rightly so, Mr. Speaker.
Order what?
Mr. Speaker, under the inherent powers of the standing orders, Mr. Speaker, it's not entirely right that lawyers do not want to be part of the Judiciary Committee. He knows that the Judiciary Committee is a one-item committee. Mr. Speaker, you know that for sure, that the Judiciary Committee, of which you've been a member, is just a one-item committee. After the budget of the judiciary is approved, that ends it. So what are you there to learn? Thank you.
Honorable members, Honorable Deputy Whip.
I'm coming. Mr. Speaker, I'm a whip. Just to corroborate what he's saying. The truth is that many lawyers in the House don't like to serve on the Judiciary Committee. And that is a fact. We are about to set up committees again. I don't know. Maybe they know the law already or something like that. So they don't like serving on the Judiciary Committee. So we are encouraging them. Mr. Speaker, if you give us the authority, now that we are coming to form the new committees, we will make sure that majority of the lawyers in this House will be on the Judiciary Committee.
Honorable members, by way of raising an objection, he stated that after consideration of the budget of the judiciary, what else? Honorable members, I believe it's the duty of the whip to look at the background of members and decide which committee they should belong. But let me give the floor to Honorable Mahama Ayarga.
Mr. Speaker, it is not true that the lawyers don't want to serve on the Judiciary Committee. I served on the Judiciary Committee for one term of Parliament. I served on the Judiciary Committee for one term of Parliament. But very often the lawyers are not many. Very often the lawyers are not many. So when you do the distribution between subsidiary legislation and then Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, you often don't have many to spare to deal with Judiciary Committee. So it is not the case that the lawyers don't want to serve on the Judiciary Committee. But on a lighter note, lawyers are not judges. Lawyers are not judges. So you cannot say that because we are lawyers, we should be interested in serving on the Judiciary Committee. And in a court, there is the judge, but there is the accused, and then there is the defendant, and then there is the applicant. These are all parties that should be serving in the Judiciary Committee. There are parties that should be interested in the Judiciary Committee. So it doesn't have to be the lawyers alone, but the accused persons, and there are many accused persons sitting here. And then the litigants, and registrars. So all those people are interested in the Judiciary Committee.
Honorable member, myself, I was the vice chairman of the Judiciary Committee at the 6th Parliament as a lawyer. So that should attest to the fact that lawyers have been serving as a judiciary in the Judiciary Committee. I know Honorable Roxanne Nelson Dafamako is a lawyer, my good friend. has also served on the Judiciary Committee. So lawyers have been serving on the Judiciary Committee of Parliament. Sosu is a lawyer, also served the Judiciary Committee. And it is also true that lawyers are not many. The rule is that you cannot serve on more committees on one side. So after distributing them, so you may continue your comment.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, for the sake of my friends who are lawyers.
Achampo, are you on point of order?
Mr. Speaker, I'm interested party in this matter. So, the very person who is putting the blame on lawyers, they do the distribution of committees. Mr. Speaker, they made me the deputy ranking member of the Judicial Committee. I'm not a lawyer. Though I have LLB, I advise them, put me to a committee of which my expertise will be used.
Honorable Achampo.
So, Mr.
Speaker, as a burden lawyer,
the problem comes from leadership.
Honorable Achampo, as a burden lawyer, do you think your expertise are not needed at Judiciary Committee?
At least they should have made me the deputy ranking member. At least a member will do. When I complained, they took me to sports committee.
Honorable members, let's conclude comment on the statement with all due respect. So, Honorable Deputy Whip.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for that opportunity. But, Mr. Speaker, for the sake of my friends who are lawyers, I believe that aspect where I said lawyers don't want to serve in the Judiciary Committee should be expunged. But, Mr. Speaker, I quoted Article 103.
I also direct as such.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I quoted Article 103, Clause 5 for a specific reason. And this is the very first time that, this is the very first statement that we are commenting on in this House. Mr. Speaker, I've been here for 16 years now. And this is my 17th year. Mr. Speaker, I've seen former members of Parliament who excelled very well in their committees. And therefore, after their exit from Parliament, international organizations have been chasing them. And I'm not surprised that Dr. Mafo has been the immediate one. I can also mention of the Honorable former Foreign Affairs Minister, Honorable Shalaya Kobuchi. I can mention the Honorable Dr. Mohammed Ibn Chambers. I can mention the Honorable Dr. Hanatete. I can mention Honorable Dr. Kwame Ampofo in the energy sector. They will be in their constituencies, and international organizations will write letters to come and be searching for them to go and do international assignments. So, colleagues, just as you have come, if you are made to go and serve in a committee, go and work diligently. Your talents will sell you. I'm proud of Dr. Mafu, and I believe many lessons can be learned from this. But, Mr. Speaker, to conclude, Dr. Mafu as a person has performed creditably well. He has gained international recognition. But as a country, if there's a sector that we haven't performed well in this our generation, it's in the field of environment. We should not only become theoretical environmentalists, we must be practical environmentalists as well. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Honourable members, let me also add my voice by thanking the maker of the statement highlighting the good work of Honourable Dr. Emmanuel Mafu, the former member of Ofori Krom, on the subject matter under reference. Honorable Dr. Mafu, your good work as a member of Parliament and your interest in climate-related matters is worthy and deserve of emulating. Your contributions to climate change is recognized nationally and internationally. Thank you very much for lifting the image of Ghana very high and making Parliament of Ghana very proud. Once again, thank you very much. Honourable members, statement time is ended. Any indication from the majority leadership?
Mr. Speaker, it was meant to be a short sitting today, and it's past 2 o'clock. Mr. Speaker, if it will please you, I've had some discussions with the minority leader. Some names came out today and were referred to the appointment committee. Just as under Order 65(1), sometimes the President communicates to the House, and in some circumstances the action is taken, and then whenever Parliament is properly constituted, Speaker reads out the communication to the House. We agreed that if it would please the House, if further communication comes to the attention of Mr. Speaker that requires referral, Mr. Speaker can go ahead and make those referrals, and when we return on a Thursday, then Mr. Speaker can bring that to the attention of the House. Unfortunately, I haven't seen. Okay, Honorable Wama is here to maybe.
Available leader.
President. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me corroborate what the Chief Whip said. It's true the acting clerk conferred with the minority leader who asked me to just reiterate that point to you, that we'll be expecting a supplementary list from the President on his nomination. We know that list has kept a lot of my colleagues in the chamber, and I believe when the list is submitted to Mr. Speaker, we'll go through the motions, but we'll indulge Mr. Speaker and the President and take it through the appointments committee, as said. So just keep your nerves cool. Once the list is submitted, we'll work on it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, leadership.
Yes,
Mr.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, if that will be the case, the proposal is for us to come back on Thursday. But, Mr. Speaker, it's not very usual for us to start the week on Thursday. May we, if it pleases the House, can we propose that instead of coming back on the 16th, we come back the Tuesday, the 21st? 21st, because our colleagues, the first-term colleagues are supposed to go through some orientation for 4 days. At least it gives them the next weekend to also, the rest before they come back on Tuesday. But I didn't discuss that with my colleague, so I know the way he was looking at me, he will say that was not part of the agreement. But I know he will have some comment to make.
Yes, Honourable Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I can see the incoming majority leader and his deputy conferring. And I've just also heard, those of us in opposition, we know more things than those of you in government. So if you ask me, I can tell you, all of you, where you are going. But you don't know. That is how it is. When I know Ama Kofi is going to land. Yeah, you are going to land. Are you scared? Nobody will stop it. If destiny has it for you, you get it. Why are you scared? Kwame Agboja is going to roads and highways. Yeah, we know Ahmed Ibrahim is going to local government. And a lot of you will remain at the back bench.
Honorable Leader. Honorable Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Achampo, Mr. Speaker, he has done so well. Yes. I will be surprised if he's not sent to the Ministry of Finance as deputy. I will be surprised. I will be surprised. And Dr. Apak is definitely going to education as deputy education minister. Mr. Speaker, we know. That's why I know Honorable Ayariga is going to assume the black chair. And his deputy is my good friend, Kweku Rickett. Because, yes, Kweku is going to be the deputy minority leader. And, Mr. Speaker, once again, majority of them will remain at the back bench.
Honorable Minority Leader.
Anyway, Mr. Speaker.
The issue before the House is whether the adjournment should be on the 16th or 21st.
That is so.
With all due respect.
Mr. Speaker, my good friend, Honorable Abuja, he knows the practice of the House. You can't just come to the floor to make an announcement. You know it. You normally engage. Now you see, Abuja, you see. Mr. Speaker, Abuja today is begging me. Mr. Speaker, Abuja is begging. Mr. Speaker, the firm appointed the incoming chief whip. You see, you are coming. We know you are coming. Mr. Speaker, Kwame is begging me. What he did to me when I was there, Abuja Panye. Mr. Speaker, time changes. I won't do that to him because I know 2020 now I will be there. So, Mr. Speaker, I will be magnanimous. I will oblige him. Though he didn't consult me, I will oblige him.
Honorable Minority Leader, did I hear you say 2039?
No, Mr. Speaker.
I love that.
Mr. Speaker, where you are, you cannot join the debate. Mr. Speaker, I said, Mr. Speaker, I said 2029. I didn't say 39, 29.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, so Kwame has been my good friend. He did many things to me. I will not repeat. You know, to forgive is divine. So even though he did not consult this side of the house, you are begging. Today you are doing this. Mr. Speaker, I know he is anxious for his appointment. He's worked so hard for it. He deserves it. And I will not stand in his way. Mr. Speaker, I oblige him. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you. Since the will of the House is to adjourn it to Tuesday, 21st, we shall do Tuesday, 21st. Our members, is 21st not Tuesday? Instead of 16th, instead of Thursday, 16th, the will of the House is that it be adjourned to Tuesday.
Just for emphasis, my respected colleague, Honorable Patrick Yabuama, Member of Parliament for Okaikwe Central, a respected lawyer and a four-term Member of Parliament of this House. Mr. Speaker, he had earlier submitted that in the spirit of cooperation and the need to assist the government to get into motion as quickly as possible, whilst we adjourn all nominations that would come by way of correspondence be assumed to have been so announced on the floor so that it can be ferried to the appointment committee for us to continue the work on them. Mr. Speaker, if I may invoke order 3, the incoming majority leader is helping me, and that I take a cue. Mr. Speaker, I will ground my application under order 3 of the rules of the House, so that we make progress there. Mr. Speaker, for the avoidance of doubt, I would read order 3, and for the benefit of our young ones, order 3.1 provides, quote, subject to the provisions of the Constitution, a motion for the suspension of an order or part of an order may be moved without notice with the leave of the House. So basically what I was just trying to put across was that per our rules, when there's communication, and that's why we have it on our order paper, it must be read. On this occasion, we only have one that has been read by Mr. Speaker. Subsequent ones may come whilst this House is not in session. So we're praying that the rule be suspended to allow Mr. Speaker to proceed to refer, as though same is regular within the context of our rules. Mr. Speaker, that is a rule of procedure. And the jurisprudence of the House allows us to come under order 3 to achieve the same effect. So, Mr. Speaker, having said so, I move that the said expected referrals be considered and deemed as having been so done properly at plenary, so that the appointment committee can proceed to do the vetting. I add this to regularize the earlier point made by my respected colleague. If the House so pleases.
Mr. Speaker,
Thank you.
I second the motion.
Motion moved and seconded. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The Speaker of Parliament will act accordingly. Thank you, honorable members. Honorable members, before adjourning, let me use the opportunity to thank the entire House for the confidence reposed in me in electing me as the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament. I promise to work with you very diligently and reliably with your support. I am forever grateful. All my friends, the entire House, will forever be remembered. So, Muntala Mohammed, don't worry. You are in my mind. Roxanne Dafamako, I'm all for you. Thank you.
Emerepa TV, Yemreni.
The House is accordingly adjourned till Tuesday, the 21st day of January 2025.
so di hu so be professional radio and television personality no. Enroll now. Eagles Media College. Just like the eagle no, you will soar high in the media space as you get trained by seasoned media personalities. Serene environment, state-of-the-art facilities. You're running 6-month certificate, any 1-year diploma course BTC, journalism and media studies, radio and television broadcasting and journalism, news writing, anchoring, any reporting, sports presenting and commentary, show hosting, TV production, camera operating and video editing, motion and graphic designing, MCR operation, switching, any direction, any courses to PA kekahu. Uhia, yemu attachment, afe job opportunities so assured. Fees no board the form poko. Afe some of flexible payment terms. Hostel facilities file form front desk of Emerepa TV on the 3rd floor of Fisherman Building Hansonic Junction. Fred 0539 942261 and 0242 106131. Eagles Media College. When you so be a professional radio and television personality no. Enroll now. Eagles Media College. Just like the eagle no, you will soar high in the media space as you get trained by seasoned media personalities. Serene environment, state-of-the-art facilities. You're running 6-month certificate, any 1-year diploma course BTC, journalism and media studies, radio and television broadcasting and journalism, news writing, anchoring, any reporting, sports presenting and commentary, show hosting, TV production, camera operating and video editing, motion and graphic designing, MCR operation, switching, any direction, any courses to PA kekahu. Uhia, yemu attachment, afe job opportunities so assured. Fees no board the form poko. Afe some of flexible payment terms. Hostel facilities file form front desk of Emerepa TV on the 3rd floor of Fisherman Building Hansonic Junction. Fred 0539 942261 and 0242 106131. Eagles Media College.